Good morning. And we're going to go ahead and start the Pawnee Business Council special meeting on March 8th, 2017. It is 9:10 a.m. And I am calling the meeting to order this morning. And once again, glad to see everybody that's here. And Matthias has given us a beautiful morning. It's nice, brisk and cool here in Pawnee, Oklahoma. And so we are blessed today. So we will start like we always do with a word of prayer, our invocation, and I ask our secretary, Amy Littleson, if you would voice a prayer for us this morning.
All the many blessings that we are at this time here. Creator God, asking that your Holy Spirit could be here with us as we begin to conduct business on behalf of our people here, Pawnee Nation. That Creator God, that you would bless us, that we can make good decisions like that on behalf of our folks. And then today, Creator God, we have a lot of people that are in need. We have a lot of mourners, not only here in our community, but in the communities nearby. I pray that you would bless them today like that, and that you would bless our sick like that, our elders, and our little children like that, Creator God, that you could look down upon these. Thinking about our veterans this morning too, like that, Creator God, and then all those that are in need of a prayer like that, Creator God, that you would look in upon them for us like that, Creator God. And I ask and pray this in the name of your Son, our Savior, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. At this time, we'll move to item 2, which is roll call.
Bruce Pratt.
Here.
Vera Wildcat.
Here.
Amy Littleson. Here. Angela Thompson.
Here.
Sammy Addison.
Here.
Donna Hare.
Here.
Adrian Spartakush.
Here.
Deanna T.
Here.
All right, and we do have a quorum. We'll declare a quorum. So we'll move to item number 3, and that is approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or subtractions from the agenda? I have one subtraction, and that is item number 8, the TDC report. He's not going to give it this morning. We are meeting with TDC this afternoon, and he'll give a report then to the council. So, is there any other changes? All right, can accept a motion to accept the agenda?
Make a motion.
With that change?
Yes, with the change.
All right, is there a second?
A second.
Okay, Donna Hare seconds. Call for the vote.
Vera Wildcat.
Yes.
Amy Littleson. Yes. Angela Thompson.
Yes.
Sammy Addison.
Yes.
Donna Hare.
Yes.
Adrian Spartakush.
Yes.
Deanna T.
Yes.
Okay, we will move to item number 4. Oh, the agenda is approved. So now we will move to item number 4, the approval of the minutes. And so we are looking at the PBC quarterly meeting minutes, February the 4th of 2017.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of February 14th to 2017.
All right, we have a motion from Leanna. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? Call for the vote.
Vera Wildcat.
Yes.
Amy Littleson. Yes. Angela Thompson.
Yes.
Sammy Addison.
Yes.
Donna Hare.
Yes.
Adrian Spartakush.
Yes.
Deanna T.
Yes.
All right, so those minutes are approved for the quarterly meeting. And so now we will move to the PBC meeting minutes, February 21st, 2017.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
All right. Motion is made by Leanna. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And we have a second. Any more discussion?
I did. Didn't quite understand lines 134 through 139, Sammy Edson talking about the boards and commissions. Or maybe 144, 1 through 142.
144 through what?
134 through 142.
Yes. This is really relative to conflict of interest, and the scope of it is not just tied to one entity or one individual. It's a compounded issue that I did write my
And
letter
you
to.
did write your letter?
My
Okay,
letter's
I'll
in-
let it go.
My letter's with the Attorney General, and he's reviewing now.
Okay. Okay, that's all.
Right, call for the vote.
Fairwalk,
Yes.
Raymond Littleson, yes. Angela Thompson,
Yes.
Sammy Adson.
Yes.
Donna Harris,
Yes.
Adrian Spotted
Yes.
Leanna Key.
Yes.
All right, the PBC meeting minutes of February 21st, 2017 are approved. So we will move to item number 5, which is the Business Council President Report. And I would report on the meeting in DC, went and attended one day of NCAI meeting. And first day was the welcome there at NCAI, and also listening to not tribal leaders, legislative leaders there in DC. Heard Senator Langford, and he gave a report to NCAI from his position as a Republican senator. He's on the Senate Affairs Committee, and he had some good things to say. He also told us that basically there's a new boss in town, and that new boss has some changes that are coming to not only Indian country but to the whole country. He talked about the $1 trillion infrastructure package, and he was hoping that in that package that there would be Native American set-asides. He mentioned the word 20 billion in that, but he didn't elaborate. And he said that's just what's been talked about there. And even now, we really haven't heard anything about any more on that from the president and the Trump administration. Also heard from Tom Cole, and he's also here from Oklahoma. He said he would, really fight for the Indian world, the Indian tribes. His main emphasis was protecting the Indian component in the Affordable Care Act, and there with IHS, and so that was going to be his main emphasis there. Also attended Direct Service Tribe. We had 2 days of meeting there, and attended those meetings. Met the new acting IHS director, Chris Buchanan. He came and spoke to us, and he just very new, and really, kind of overwhelmed right now. He said he's attending a lot of meetings and things with the Trump administration. Direct Service is trying to strategize on how to be more effective as an organization, looking at the impact that self-governance has there at IHS, And, they have a lot more participation, many more tribal folks there and things. And so really seeking to ramp up the direct service tribe model and how we do business and things. And so, there's still 51% of the total of IHS is still direct service. 49% is self-governance. And yet, it seems like there's such less of an input from the tribes and from the different areas as far as input to direct service tribes. And so we're still a large component of IHS, and so looking to have a bigger and better voice in IHS. And so had some good meetings there, and like I said, looking to ramp up what we are doing there at direct service. Also had 2 days of budget formulation, and I'm the representative from the Oklahoma area, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas, and really pleased with the results of budget formulation. The hot topics and the points of emphasis that we had from our area were all pushed forward, and they were accepted by the total areas as important to all of us. And so all of our viewpoints and things that we brought forward were accepted by the budget formulation, and being brought forward will be brought forward to Congress. I was selected as a co-chair for the budget formulation, and so we'll be speaking to Congress. There's a meeting at the end of this month for the budget formulation there in DC, and then the actual presentation to Congress in April, I believe. And so had good meetings there, well attended, very well attended by all the areas, and heard a lot of back and forth of what's going on in the different areas. It's always interesting to listen to what is important, what are the basically the line items that are being emphasized from the different areas. But for us, it's always the same. It's 100% support for contract support cost. Also the PRC, purchase and referred care, more money into that. Oklahoma area, we're never going to see another new facility probably in 20, 30, 40 years here in Oklahoma. And so we have been looking to have that list, to have a list there of all the facilities that need to be replaced or new facilities that need to be built. In Oklahoma, we're so far down the list now, we're decades and decades and decades away. And so advocating to get that list updated, changed, whatever, but that'll take congressional approval to do that. And so that's always been a big emphasis for Oklahoma. And also wanting to have input from the tribes and from the areas on the new IHS director, and heard from IHS about that, and so I'll move on to another meeting and speak more on that. I also attended last week. Attended a meeting with UNICOT, called a meeting. There were 12 tribes involved. We met in Muskogee with Mark Wayne Mullins, and Mark Wayne Mullins is President Trump's man to be the lead person for all of Indian country, having to deal with the BIA and having to deal with IHS. And so he's the lead man in those areas. And he said something very, very encouraging to all of us. He said, I want to tell you, the first thing is this. He said, I just came out of a meeting yesterday from talking with the Trump administration and his leadership, and they told me that I can tell the tribes now that the Indian component in the Affordable Care Act will remain intact. So, and that was big news. That is huge news. That's what we have been advocating for. Even though they're dismantling the Affordable Care Act, they're going to keep that intact. And so, very encouraged in hearing that. He said, you can go ahead and tell your folks, and you can tell your people that's going to remain intact. That we're not going to mess with that. And then he said, now. He said, we're not going to mess with it now. He said, so probably for the first 2 years, we're not going to mess with it. He said, but they're looking to maybe make changes in the IHS. He didn't elaborate. He said, but there's some changes that need to be made. But he said, we're looking maybe 18 months, 2 years down the way of making some changes. He also said this. He said that the Trump administration is very they're going to go after the Department of the Interior and just do a complete overhaul, reorganization, whatever. And he said a part of that's going to be the BIA. He said the BIA is going to change. He said definitely. That's one of the big things on the Trump administration's to-do list. And so the BIA, he said, you know, how you see it now, it's not going to stay that way. He said there are big changes coming to the BIA, and he said it's just not working, and so it needs to be fixed. And so he made that claim to us there and to the leadership. And you know the leadership that was there, different ones, mainly from the east. You know, they asked some questions, but there's just still a lot of unknowns, and you know, a lot of things that they won't say, can't say, and things as far as specifics, as far as land in the trust, these kind of things, and just not a lot of unknowns there. One thing did hear is that the three IHS folks that they had advocated for an IHS director, and I believe one of them was Chris Buchanan, who's acting right now. I think another one was Charles Grimm from the Cherokees, who's been IHS director before, but was told that those three that was put forward by the tribes, that the Trump administration has rejected all three. And so they're going to put forward their own person. And so we was disappointed to hear that, because one of the things that we had advocated for was having tribal input in the selection process of having a say, but it seems like there's not going to be a say in that. And so, you know, that was kind of disappointing. And so, you know, those two meetings were good meetings. I know Donna was at NCAI and she attended most of that. Oh, the other thing was we also attended a meeting with Department of Education on the Pawnee Nation College, and we had a meeting with those folks again, and you know, shared some things and voiced some concerns that we had. They heard us and things, and those are the things that we have discussed as a council. And so just wanted to say that to the folks out there that you know, we're still in discussion about the Pawnee Nation College and trying to find the best way in the direction that they are going. And so those are the meetings that I attended. And any questions?
The only thing is that, you know, Trump is announcing his American health care plan, and it's good to hear that they're not going to touch the Indian Health Care Improvement Reauthorization portion of the Affordable Care Act. But I would encourage you, and I think Leanna are both on the health board over here at IHS, to read that plan and ensure that there's no provisions that will negatively affect that we can champion our clinic and IHS services that are care to our Indian people.
Okay, well, thank you. You know, I would say this, and this is just a reflection of being in DC and listening to what was said, listening to tribal leaders, listening to all of that. And I would say this is the mood of tribal nations right now is we're in for a hard 4 years. We're in for a hard time, and everyone is looking at probably not having any more gains as far as in IHS, maybe in BIA, and all the things that have what we consider gains in Indian countries, especially on the consultation part, and with all of the federal agencies and things, and so the mood is just trying to maintain, trying to stay where we're at and not lose ground, and advocating and fighting to keep what we got and hopefully not lose what we have. And so that was kind of the mood there, very somber mood and things. It's a new ballgame. It's a new administration, and one thing that he told everybody in his election speeches is that there's going to be changes, and he said, I was elected, so let's make the changes. So hopefully they don't really hurt and impact Indian country in a too negative of a way. So at this time, move on to item number 6, Pawnee Business Council Committee and travel requests. Any requests? Travel. I have one, and I had mentioned it on the 29th and 30th is budget formulation in DC, and it's a paid-for trip. The government will take care of that, so that's on the 29th and 30th.
I want to. Next Friday is reburial in Nebraska.
Okay.
And I didn't know how to go about to use CRD funds or business council funds, but I'm in the process of contacting the CRD right now, sending an email. I think they were already processing that stuff, so I don't know if it's too late or if they can still do that or not.
They should be able to, because they do have a $15,000 line item in their CRD budget.
Okay.
What's the date of that?
It is
16th, 17th.
Yeah, 16th to 17th. The reburial's on the 17th, but the 16th I'm going up to help do the grade.
All right. Any other travel requests? Okay, we can entertain a motion on these 2 travel requests.
I want to add on to that. Next week, I'm planning on going to Nebraska to start the process for putting the land into trust. And so I was going to be up there for until Thursday, but if they're having the reburial, I'd like to stay for the reburial also. So I don't know if I mean, that's already been approved last month, the travel request, but to
What are the dates?
For the reburial or?
No, 16th.
The trip?
I was going to leave on Monday. And I was going to come back on Thursday. Because my plan is to go to Aberdeen, South Dakota, meet with the BIA, and another day meet with the commissioners, the county commissioners, and then another day I wanted to meet with the tribes up there, the Omaha, the Winnebago, and just to see what kind of relationship they have with the state of Nebraska. So that was what I wanted to do, was go up there and see about that.
Do you have meetings already scheduled?
Samantha's setting them up for me right now.
Will it be taking the whole day to do it, or are they all in Aberdeen?
Aberdeen is a long ways from, the hotel where I'm going to be staying is going to be in Grand Island. I'm going to travel, Aberdeen is like a 5-6 hour drive from Grand Island. Because I'm going to Aberdeen, South Dakota, so yeah, it's a long drive. I'm going to have to be doing a lot of traveling.
Okay, and so you're meeting with who first? Who did you say?
I
just want to know. I mean, is
I just said it, I'm going to the BIA, and then I'm going to meet with the county commissioners, and then I'm going to meet with the tribes.
Where is the BIA?
Aberdeen, South
And you're staying
Dakota.
Okay, and then where are the county commissioners?
I'm staying in Grand Island, Leanna.
Okay, where are the county commissioners?
Well, I don't know,
Is it
I don't
just
know, I don't know
one?
what the counties, I don't know off the top of my head.
You don't know either?
But it's in
Okay.
Nebraska.
It's
I know
Nebraska.
it's in Nebraska, but I'm just wondering, is it, are you going?
I will give a full report when I get back. I'll give you all the details then, or you can bring my receipts if you want them.
I would like to see a better, more of an itinerary. Do you have you scheduled everything?
She's on the process of
Samantha,
scheduling.
you're in the process.
We're trying to get a centralized location because they're all over.
Okay, so what counties are they, do you know?
Thomas and Howard,
Are the
definitely.
main
There's one
ones?
other, there's 3 counties.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Those are-
Well,
And then what tribe,
Excuse me,
where are you meeting with the tribe?
She's gonna go to the Winnebago tribe and the Omaha tribe, and she's gonna meet at the tribal facilities with.
Okay,
their
and
land
that
management
is, where are they?
They're in Nebraska.
Your travel was already approved, right?
yes, it was
Yeah, I
approved.
was
So all you're adding is
Is that I would like to stay for the
Stay.
burials.
Okay.
Right,
I'm
okay.
just adding that onto my travel. It's already been approved.
May I ask where
She might
the,
come back on the 17th or the 18th.
This is on behalf of the land use
yeah, I
committee.
know.
Well,
I just like to keep, Winnebago and Omaha, where are they out at?
Not for sure.
Nebraska.
They're in Nebraska.
I know
Mason,
they are out in
Omaha.
Nebraska.
Google it.
Omaha,
They,
Sioux City is.
Well,
Use your laptop.
okay.
Back the day after.
Winnebago and
Okay,
Omaha,
thank
they
you.
share the same reservation line. They're on the east side of Nebraska.
Okay,
They,
Northeast.
yeah, okay.
Ochunk's are in
Okay.
Sioux City and, Omaha's are in Mason.
north and south, okay.
No, it's northeast.
Omaha's is headquartered in Macy, and the Winnebago's is in Winnebago.
Winnebago, Nebraska.
And they're only miles apart.
That one, okay. Well, I just wanted an idea, because they are so scattered. Okay, I would appreciate it. Amy, thank you.
All right. We can get a motion to approve the travel.
President Pratt, I make a motion to.
All right, thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
Donna seconds. All those in favor say yes.
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 Any opposed? No. Okay, so the travel is approved, and we do not have item number 8. That's going to be this afternoon, so we move on to item number 9, which is the ED report, Director report.
President,
Business or committee reports.
Oh, I'm sorry.
and travel reports too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Not yet.
No, it's fine.
I am sorry, folks.
Those are right.
I know that. No, Leanne, you messed me up on that. All right, let's start with Deputy Adrian, and we'll do our committee reports, travel reports. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Morning, everyone. On Thursday, the 23rd and the 24th of February, I went down to Oklahoma Farmers Market and Agritourism Conference and Expo. It was in Oklahoma City. And I went down there hoping to meet a lot of different people and maybe some vendors from Oklahoma, or even just different companies. and it wasn't quite exactly what I thought it was going to be. And when I said agritourism, I was thinking there was going to be other things, but it was mostly just focused on the farmers markets. I think that these farmers markets are something that's great. I've always kind of thought about something about us here at the nation doing that. It's something that's really popular. I just don't know that we're there yet because we have to have, produce, and stuff to put out. And I don't know how many farmers that we actually have. There might be something, Brian, that maybe, we could kind of, I was thinking that we could just kind of get an idea, see if how many, not only Pawnee farmers, but maybe other tribes or even other Native people here in the community. It's becoming a very popular thing. A lot of people want to eat healthy. A lot of people are starting to go to like Sprouts and Stillwater. Probably a lot of people are going to Walmart and buying organic foods. They were given the statistics about this stuff, and they were showing the trends, how things are changing. A lot of things, the only thing that's kind of being a little kind of downfall of that is that food's a little bit more expensive. Farmers markets enable people to be able to be competitive with big name grocery stores, but also it gives an opportunity for these farmers to kind of make a little money, to help benefit themselves and their own families. So Stillwater has one. There's a lot of farmers markets around further out in the communities. But I didn't realize how kind of connected that they are. So you'll have people that will go to Stillwater that will go to Tulsa, Sand Springs, and they have everything scheduled where they're out on different days, so that way they won't conflict and compete with anybody else and things like that. And so they have these guidelines. They have state requirement guidelines, but also tribes are able to use their sovereignty to go right along with that too as well. While I was down there, I met a lady. She was from the Chickasaw Nation. Her name was Leah Delosier. I think that's how you say her last name. And the Chickasaw Nation has a farmers market program. She gave me a couple of farmers agreements. These are agreements that they have with the farmers. It details, what they expect and vice versa. What the farmers should expect. And they set up, and it allows not only for their tribal members but also community members to come in and sell their produce that they grow. But also what I thought was really unique is that the tribe has what they call Chickasaw dollars, and so they create this money. They're like, it's money, to them, and it can only be used there. But they give supplements to elders and to low-income families that are in their tribe. And so, like elders, they give them like maybe $50 or $100 for these elders to go down to these farmers market, and they're able to use these dollars to buy groceries from these farmers. And so, the farmers will get these dollars, and then in turn they'll reimburse, they'll give them to the tribe, and they'll reimburse them and pay. And it's the same thing with these low-income families. So what that does is it helps stimulate the business there within their tribe, and to get their people to eat healthy, more options, and to get them to be control what they eat in their diet. And so they've had a huge turnout. They've got several different farmers market areas within their tribe. Of course, they have a large land base as well. But they were very encouraging about tribes to get them involved. And while I was there, they had a lot of farmers that I got to meet with that participate in this Chickasaw Farmers Market. And they really enjoy it. They have a good relationship with the tribes. And some of these farmers have developed bigger crops just so they could help with this farmers market. And then while I was there, OSU was there a lot, and I met one of the women prior for the corn that I had. I guess you call it heirloom traditional corn that I had. And so they was wanting to do a project with that, but they were there, and they have the Made in Oklahoma program over there in Stillwater. So when you guys go to grocery stores, you see the section has all the products that's made in Oklahoma. They're the ones that help that over there in Stillwater. So through them, they are encouraging people to try to, like make honey, to make, jams and pies jams for like jellies and for pies, all of these different kind of things. They do all the promoting and all of that kind of stuff. They're trying to get the Oklahoma farmers to be more active, and they're trying to offer them, like incentives to try to help that happen. So that's some of the things that I got to see and meet with down there. I've got some brochures, picked up a lot of different things. The Chickasaw, they did a presentation. I got that here. There's a farmers agreements, something that's anybody's interested in. But I think it's something that we can do. I really do. I just think that, we have to find out, ourselves, how many farmers that we have within our community and how many people we can get to be involved. And they were talking about, there's not like a, if a farmer grows, 8 watermelons and they can bring it to the farmer's market and sell 8 watermelons, then that's great, And then maybe that, those 8 watermelons will go to a needy family, somebody that can eat healthier, and then also for the farmers, they're not left with something that's going to go to waste. And it'll maybe hopefully inspire them to have a bigger garden for the next following year. So I think that's something, like I said, that we can do. I know that Deb has her little garden, through the elders. Maybe they have additional vegetables or something that if they don't save, that they might want to try to sell to create a little more revenue for that department. It's just an idea that I thought about. So that's what I went down there and heard about, and I thought it was pretty interesting. But it's not what I was thinking. What I was going down there was to look and see stuff about like aquaponics, hydroponics, greenhouses, and different things like that. Some of these tribes, some of these people do have these facilities, but they weren't talking about those per se. They were just talking about the farmers market part. So that's all I have. I don't know if I have any questions or not.
I know, we discussed this too, but I think we can even take it a step further for our community, and they can bring out like their jams and jellies to sell, and honey, or those types of things. I could envision them sitting out here in a parking lot. We could get a covered wagon. Those big, those big, and set it up for them, and they can come out on Saturdays, or once a month, start it out, once a month, see how it goes, and it builds up. But I think that would be a fun project. And
I can add that my grandson in high school sold watermelon. He had his pickup full and pulled a trailer, and he would take it to the smoke shop in Yale, and they started calling him the Watermelon Man because looking for him when he quit bringing it. They were wondering when the Watermelon Man would be back, but he made a lot of money, and it was good for him. As a high school student, it was good to learn all that, have the experience about business. So it's a good idea.
President Beth, that is one of the biggest marketing drives right now is Whole Foods. I had that conversation here in council with Mr. Smith, Roger Smith, relative to our restaurant there at Stonewall having a garden for Whole Foods. It's huge. I think that if we just even told the people within our communities that we have a monthly event here, they would more than be glad to do it. In Cleveland, where I live, they have different farmers just bring their pickups and park and put a sign up, tomatoes or whatever it is. And it would be great to have them all gathered at once, so we could have an event, if you will. That'd be great. I don't know who can
Did
drive
you know
that.
Pawnee has a farmer's market? I'm not sure, is it Friday mornings at the courtyard?
Yeah.
And Wednesday, it seems like it's twice, but there's just a handful that show up. So
I think like a Saturday morning would, that's generally when I've seen farmer markets in
That's when they
in larger
usually used to
communities.
get
But
out
Saturday
of the
morning
crowd,
would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, one of the things that they commented about
Did
that
you?
on Saturdays is they said that most bigger metropolitan areas, so say for instance Stillwater, there's a Saturday morning. So most of these farmers in the local area will go there to sell their stuff. So that's why they have like on Fridays and Wednesdays and other places so that they could kind of get some of the other business that Stillwater
Did you
don't
know
get.
there's a newsletter that shows all the farmers markets in the state, so you can go to each one of them depending on what their specialty is in that area?
I thought I got it, but I was looking in there and I didn't see it, but it has a lot,
You can get it on the website.
yeah, and then you can also go online, like Facebook, and all of these places are promoted, they really promote social media, these farmers markets, so you can see the vendors that are there and what products are being sold. Some of the things like you just talking about, Angela, like the pies and stuff like that, they have rules and stuff that's within the state, and some of those things are not considered like farmers market stuff, but they're able to sell them. But those farmers market people are not responsible for people that eat those kind of things in case if there's something, because there's a whole the whole process of where did this come from, and all of that kind of stuff. But they allow them things to be sold, so. But that's just one of those kind of waiver things that hey, they're sold here, but we're not responsible if you buy that.
Right.
Just the vegetables and produce and stuff. I didn't even know dried beans aren't considered that either.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dried beans. You have fresh beans. So you have green beans and stuff. But if you let them dry, then you have your other beans, and those aren't considered. Just because it's a process that's happened that they can't control.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Adrian. Sam?
Yes, thank you. We had our second land use committee meeting on, bear with me while I find my notes. That was on February the 23rd. Attendees were Jimmy Justice, Andrew Knife Chief, myself, Quanta James, Brian Kirk. We are very interested in getting our land into trust, as Fanny alluded to a little earlier. The lands have been identified, and they include the Day property and the Nebraska properties. We found out that the BIA office that is responsible for our lands within Nebraska is in Aberdeen. Amy will be attending that this mid-month. We also petitioned the BIA to give us some type of direction. I did receive a note from Ms. Silcook that was here in Pawnee, who sent me the fee to land trust version for Rev 1. And we are also asking for environmental studies. Our land outreach. Some tribes have an outreach program to convince members to quit claim their lands, partial lands, to the tribe. This was a prior discussion of mine to council, so that their fractionated land would have our name on it, which would eliminate eminent domain. Our Buffalo project, the property department has a two-time burn of the buffalo pasture lands out on Catholic Road. The north pasture has been burned, and the south side needs some brush clearing and will burn within the next 2 weeks. That burn actually happened yesterday while I was in the dental chair. And at the end of summer, both pastures will be burned again. They're in the process of clearing cedar. Fence removals, the south side has had some of the fence removed already. They have contacted the OSU Extension Office to leverage seeds, and a rep from NRCS of the USDA came and inspected the lands and found an abundance of natural grass. So that's really great news. That again is like Whole Foods for our livestock. Once the end of the summer burn is completed, the land will come back and we will not need seeds for pasturing. Contacting the USDA for a soil and botanical survey to ensure the land is in prime condition. We're investigating land sales in the vicinity. Catwick Road is to develop more pasture land. The only available land right now is the Waters property, and according to Jimmy, that's 49 acres with a list price of $3,000 per acre. There's also 5 homes there. They want $20,000 for the homes each, but they're just tear downs. So the actual approximation is $251,000 for that land. So that's a
With the home.
with everything.
That's
The
what,
list,
1, 2, 3, 4,
5.
5 homes?
Yeah, but they're unlivable.
Now, is this the strip of land that's
Yes.
right next to the
Right
dead
next,
property?
yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
What's the total acreage on that?
It's 49 acres with a list of 251. And we could, that's probably very negotiable. You know,
I thought there was more.
I never pay sticker
There-
price for
there-
anything, so.
There's 49 acres of pasture land, but there's more land than that.
Yes,
There's
there's 49 that we could actually
Yeah, that's
use.
pasture land. The rest
Oh,
is-
the pasture land, but then the other land is it's just not considered.
It's not considered
Okay, okay.
pasture.
Okay.
Yeah, hence the 251. And then what else did we do? And I'm just reading this because it's kind of been a while. So tribal lease reviews, we want and need fair market value for our land leases. The Cobell Land Buyback Program scheduled for 2018 will provide an outreach office at the nation. The Realty Department will enable us to manage and facilitate the nation's land leases and remove the Bureau of Indian Affairs from this process. And although manpower is limited, we would ultimately like to understand and read leases, understand the location of our lands, visit land and inspect overgrowth of trees, fencing, etc., that lessees are taking care of the property as specified in the lease. Oftentimes, our leased lands are not taken care of by the leaser. And that's unfortunate. And we've got to have some type of manpower to accommodate that, and I would envision Terrell would be doing that. They're interested in getting some horses right now anyways and putting them behind the barn so that they could ride in, instead of walking in to inspect these fencings and stuff on big acreage. Trust application, the Land Use Committee will need to meet more often once the activities of the land into trust activities begin. So we'll be getting a lot more active probably, I would imagine, once a week teleconferences or bi-weekly telephone conferences eventually. Our land use plan is to develop a land use plan which will be included in the Pawnee Business Council strategic planning process. Brian Kirk is working with the USDA on possibilities. The ideas needed for the following: what are we doing with Shalaco? What are we doing with the land east of Rome Chief? It is prime land for our agricultural kickoff, and it is next to wells, etc. So agriculture is expensive, but we must consider it. Do we include taro in the planning? What do we want to grow? What types of grants are available, and what property are we going to target? Our next meeting is scheduled for March the 23rd, 2 p.m. teleconference. That's all I have to say.
Any question? All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
I got a little, it's not necessarily a question to you, it's probably to Andrew, just kind of food for thought, you know. This land she's talking about right here, you
Yeah.
know, we was always talking about, you know, when we'll get these buffalo to have that as a byway into there. But being that, you know, that's still trying to determine when that buffalo is going to be.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility of us putting a small guard back here in the meantime until then?
Brian and I are looking at, we want to utilize, since that land's already been cultivated,
Yeah.
and it's right next to the 3 wells, so we've got irrigation already there. We're looking to incorporate high tunnels and other agricultural products into that, utilizing that space as a buffer too between the bison
Yeah.
and the people here are walking around. But yeah, I mean, that's part of our plan is to, and we're going to meet with Janie Hip, March 1st, all day. So we're going to present our plan to her and see what she can go out and get for us.
If possible, if you guys don't mind, I'd like to be in.
Sure, absolutely.
March 1st?
31st.
I would like to.
Just remind me.
Where is that going to be at?
It's going to be here all day. She's going to be here all day. She's going to go over Brian and I's proposal and plan and see which mechanism she can use to steer funnel money towards us.
I'm very glad you guys got in contact with her and utilized her. I've been a big fan of hers, you know, I think she's great, so I'm glad she's back to the table.
Yeah.
Is that like 9 o'clock?
I'm assuming 9 or 10, when you know that they get
Okay, great, thank you. I'll attend that as well.
I have one question. I think I heard you that a part of your strategic plan is to develop a land use plan?
Yes,
Oh, great,
yes.
great.
That'll be part of the strategic plan.
Okay, thank you.
You know, another thing too, you know, Angela and I talked about this before, and I'll just kind of throw that out there too for Sam. You know, I too am a part of that, you know, land use committee. You know, at some point, I think it'd be very beneficial for this nation that we could start setting some funds aside, you know, for land acquisition. You know, however much we could identify that we could use, you know, but you know, how it'd be if it's every month or every year or whatever we put that money aside, that when an opportunity arises, whether it be here in the Pawnee community or the Nebraska community, that we could use those funds to try to you know, purchase more land. As we all know now, you know, land's power, you know, so and then we could use it to utilize for our benefit, whatever it is, you know, we're going to be trying to do, you know.
I agree.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amy?
I didn't have any travel.
Okay. And Vice President's not here, so move on to Angela.
The only things I have to report on, I'm not going to report on property meeting or budget committee meetings because I bring them back to this body, so you all are all familiar with what's going on there. I did attend the Southern Plains Regional Budget Formulation Technical Work Group meeting for I will be presenting, or the representatives for Southern Plains will be presenting the priorities for the Southern Plains region to TVIC on March 21st and the 23rd in DC. So we're trying to finalize that presentation. I asked Laura to attend. Thank you for allowing her to attend with me on that meeting to provide input to what's going into that presentation. So she was able to provide some valuable input on the Indian child welfare from our perspective into that budget formulation process. So that was good, as well as social services. So, and we're trying to highlight any successes within the region as well. So I attended that. We're finalizing it. We're in the process. It has to be the central office, I believe, by the 11th is the final deadline to the region. The other, it's not really a meeting I attended, but I did make contact as a follow-up with Mr. Robert Weaver with RWI benefits in regard to the proposal he submitted. So we have a conference call this Thursday, tentatively. He may have to change it with some things going on. At 1:30, I believe it is, on this, 2:30 on Thursday. So what I would like to do is look at all the revenue and resources available to the tribe, and then come up with a viable health insurance proposal to present to the council if the revenue's there. It's all contingent upon the revenue. So I'm looking forward to those discussions with Rob. So that'll start this week. I just wanted to give you an update on that. So that's all I have.
I have one question relative to the Rama settlement. Do we have that funding just in trust or IRA or something?
We have it right now. It's currently in a regular account, interest-bearing account. I have talked to Harrison and the budget committee in regard to investment options, so that I would like to invest it, and then us live off the interest.
Sure.
For any projects that we have, coming out and things like that, land acquisition on. But those proposals will be brought here for your consideration and vote at that time. And I did recently find some documents, my mom did, when she was on council, on a proposal that was investment options. So I'm We just found it the other day in her papers, and so I want to look at that and see. And a group came and presented to the council at that time. So there's some, review those options and maybe get an update. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Move on to Leanna.
Okay, good morning to you. I also attended the budget meeting, and I believe we had a proposal review. Andrew, I can't remember, was it the violence?
It was the violence against women.
Okay, and we got that sent in on time and everything. Okay. And I attended the Tarot meeting, and I just wanted to share something here from that everyone might be interested in. They will be providing lawn care this year. I think they'll be charging to most folks, but it will be free to the elders anywhere. So that was nice to hear. And let's see. Also, they have plenty of firewood, but I don't think we're going to be needing that. And that's all I've done. We have had 3 family losses in the past 2 weeks, and it has been hard. So you just got to get up and go on. So that's all.
Thank you, Leanna. Yes, our prayers with the Chapman family continue to be. Move on to Donna.
Good morning, everybody. So I wanted to report out on the HR committee. And with the HR committee, we didn't meet last month because of some staff obligations. And so we just went ahead and scheduled it for this month that we will meet and try to get through the policies that we have in front of us. We don't have too many right now, but we'll be working on those. But I did want to report out on the National Congress of American Indians mid-year conference. And if I have a 12-page report. I promise I'm not going to read it all. I want to hit the highlights because there were some really important things said. And if I do start getting down in the weeds too much, if you have a hook, you can pull me off there. Or Bruce can give me the sign and I'll try to wrap it up. But there was some really important information, and I'm glad our staff was there, Andrew and Brian, because lots of good information was given. At the NCAI, there were a number of, I don't have the number right offhand, but I'm going to say probably around 15 elected officials. And it was bipartisan. And one of the good things about how it was scheduled is that they put the state they were representing, but they did not put their party. And they told us throughout the conference, several of them did, to stay bipartisan. Before the actual session started, there was an NCAI task force on violence against women, and I attended that, and they talked about recent policy developments. Senator Daines and Tester of Montana will introduce a bill to create a day of awareness for missing and murdered women. And they want us to talk to our senators and ask them to help sponsor. Publicly acknowledging the problem is the first step. They really want, the task force wants the federal government to take missing women serious so that we can get away from finding their remains later. Victims of the Crime Act of 1984, it was a bill that created a fund. There's no tax monies involved in it, so it doesn't cost the U.S. government anything. The Congress has tripled the fund in the last few years, but money goes to states and territory, not to tribes. 1/2 of 1% gets passed on to tribes. Congress has some options. They can authorize the legislation in the 1984 bill. They can look at the appropriation process. That's harder to secure, but it's a longer term solution. And Congress has tripled funding, but has not addressed the most affected people. The continuing resolutions have kept tribes from receiving funds. It has broad bipartisan support. the violence against women funding is $50 million a year. The rumor is that Trump wants to eliminate VAWA, and but Congress makes the decision. And VAWA, like all the other federally funded programs, they're getting halfway through their funding, and they really should be looking at the 2018 funding right now, or should have been, a few weeks ago, but they're still trying to look at the second part of the 2017 funding, so they are behind. There were, they talked about the different funding available for this, and one act is a federal violence prevention act that was established in 1984 with a 10% allocation for tribes. But tribes are asking for amendments. It's an easy application process, and they're asking for amendments, and they want to increase funding. 1, to create a tribal hotline, and 3, set aside for nonprofit coalitions. And so SAMHSA offers a holistic approach, and the other HUD agencies like HUD, Department of Justice, and DHS have tried to increase fundings, and so we need continuing advocacy there. And it's important that the housing authorities need policies that support it. So VAWA has 3 approaches. 1, create the dream bill with full jurisdiction. 2, straight authorization with a few technical amendments. And 3, no authorization and maintain the current level. And this is very dangerous. If unauthorized, VAWA could disappear, and it would be devastating for the tribes. Again, they reminded us to be politically astute. Under Janet Reno, the doors were open, but the following attorney generals did not have open doors for the tribes. And this attorney general, Sessions, voted against VAWA. So the Biden-Hatch bill grandfathered in VAWA, and tribes have a lot at risk. There is a national movement with VAWA with about 300 members, and if the amendments are offered, the title can be opened up. And so we need to identify the Republicans that would support us. Alaska was left out of VAWA. And so there is a lot of information on missing and murdered women. Dane-sponsored Senate Resolution 60 for missing and murdered women. And the funding, they want to just keep in mind that the funding comes from the Congress, not the President. And so there will be an activity, an event that's, I believe, being coordinated by Sherry Giles, and it's going to be for May 5th to stand with them on VAWA. There was an executive director's report. If you've ever been to National Congress of American Indians, about 20 years ago, it wasn't, it was a neat forum and everything, but it wasn't run very well. And if you attend now, it is so well ran, and it's such a dynamic organization. They have these speakers, these senators and congressmen speaking like every 15 minutes, and for the most part, they really stayed on schedule. But they have 35 employees, and as you probably know, they have an office on Embassy Row, which is, very visual. So with this administration, that they've talked about repealing ACA, which has been done, but they talked about infrastructure development, and we need to learn to look at investments and learn how to talk about the return on the investments, so that we can, be a part of this infrastructure development. So Senator Tom Udall from New Mexico, he said that, Trump has promised infrastructure, which we've all heard. But he said that Indian country is in need of it because there's 14% of Indian households that still do not have electricity. 40% of the Navajo and Hopi area still lack water in their homes, and 18% lack broadband. So he says that we need to invest in energy, and that he's committed to working against the aisle, and we need a Native American business incubator. And he's committed to tribal culture, and the first action out of the committee was the passage of the Esther Martinez language grant through 2022. And so he said that there's going to be changes in grants and to make sure that NAGPRA is protected. He did say that in President Obama's farewell address, he said that the biggest check on the president is engaged citizenry. Tom Cole said he had some legitimate concerns, but he, along with a number of others, supported Zinke. They said that he grew up around Indian communities and that, that he was supportive of tribes. So he said, be engaged, don't rush to opinion. VAWA passed because the Indian women were engaged. And he cited a book about American creation. In chapter 5, he said that the treatment of American Indians, and it was about the treatment of American Indians and Native Americans, and he said that that things got better because the Native Americans never quit doing what they did. They lived the way that they continued to live their own way of life. And he said that the U.S. has a unique legal framework, and we need to always remember the importance of who we are. The U.S. government has neglected and marginalized racism, religious choice, and sacred land. So read the Constitution, understand sovereignty, and read about history. Native Americans shouldn't be ignored or patronized. Danes of Montana claimed to be the first Republican to visit Northern Cheyenne Reservation, and I had to think to myself, isn't that where Ben Night Horse Campbell was from? So sometimes if we don't have an institutional memory, we don't always, know what has happened. So Al Franken was really interesting and really engaging, and he said that there is a chronic shortage in the Bureau of Indian Education schools. And he talked about how unjust it is that we expect Indian kids to succeed academically when we fail to provide them the right environment to achieve that success. And we need to provide safe, modern schools for every Indian child, and that's why we fought so hard for the schools, is what he said. And he talked about the major problems, with the substance abuse in the communities. And he was working on the passage of the Comprehensive Addiction and Recovery Act. And he said that Tom Cole was right not to be partisan, and he's working with Senator Murkowski to introduce a bipartisan bill, the Native Survivors of Sexual Violence Act. And this reaffirms a jurisdiction over several additional crimes, including sexual violence. This will help tribes address in their communities in a number of ways, the problems in a number of ways. And so he thanked the tribes for the support on this. He talked about the potential of energy on tribal lands, and that it would help tribes bring power into remote areas of Indian country and would spur creation of high-quality jobs that's needed on the reservations. And in 2005, Congress authorized the Tribal Indian Guarantee Loan Program to develop these projects, yet the program was never funded. That is right. In 2005, Congress authorized the Tribal Indian Guarantee Loan Program and never funded it. This is a lot, doesn't it? It tells you that everything you need to know. Funding has been one of the top priorities, and we've got to get it passed. So looking forward, he said he's looking forward to working with Zink and the administration. And he wants to have good relationships with this administration, but he wants the president to stop this Pocahontas thing. And he said that it means that he said if he hears it again, and with all due respect to the office of the president, he's going to ask him just to stop it. Langford talks about the role of government and what he's been working on, and he just gave a few success stories in Oklahoma. But there was budget discussion, and it was pretty long, and I have a written report that I will pass forward to all of you guys, and it's kind of comprehensive, trying to take out all the Tonto language out of it, and that's always challenging. But there's one thing that they talked about parity, and that was very important. As we move forward, think about parity. and use it as talking points. John Eckelbach was there, our tribal member, and he supports Judge Gorsuch, and several others did too. They said out of the 14 out of the 17 cases that he ruled on, he supported tribal sovereignty. There was one that he didn't. It was hydro versus EPA, and he ruled against the Navajo Nation on that and in favor of the energy plant. So the Bureau of Indian Affairs, Mr. Black gave an update, and he said he was excited about the Zink appointment, that there was no gag order in place. It's just part of the normal transition process. He said when an act is passed, there's 160 days for consultation, and he talked about processing land in trust, the land buyback activities, and the hiring freeze, and trying to get exceptions to those. And then to continue to put the priorities forward. And Kilmore from Washington State, he seems to be very, very popular with the Indians, with the 11 tribal councils in Washington. And he said that he was talking about the controversies, and when he met with the president, that when he meets with the president, he'll remind him of his trust responsibilities. And that he said that making treaty responsibilities is not discretionary. And but he, along with several other ones, said that the Indian Health Care Improvement Act should not be affected, not right away anyway. There was one that I really wanted to talk to you about. Oh, Nancy Pelosi, Speaker. She said that sovereignty is in the Constitution, and that when the elected officials take their pledge, they pledge to uphold the Constitution. And she said that Medicare and Medicaid are important for communities, and to protect and honor means not being locked out of jobs. That the infrastructure bill will benefit the rich. Roads will be built by private sector, and tolls will be charged. Democrats will not allow this to happen. Your voice is necessary today. And she said thank you for doing, she wanted to thank the tribes for their support for VAWA, because she said that the Republicans wanted 3 exclusions when that was passed several years back. They wanted to exclude immigrants, LGBT, and Native women from the legislation. So she said, know your power, a lot is at stake. I attended a course, a lunch on Advocacy 101, and that was very informative. They said that when you go meet with your representatives, do the research on them and learn what their interest was. And they said when you go in there, get your presentations, down within 15 minutes. Don't start out, with the history of your tribe and go through a long, 2-hour process, because you're going to lose them. So try to get your what you want to tell them done in 15 minutes. And so she talked about the importance of, they talked about the importance of coalition building and to partner with other tribes and tribal groups, and the development of work groups, being important. And that this is a different transition, as we've all seen. And the way to approach this administration is try to identify a project that can make a connection and give a message that we want to work with you. They think that there's going to be some economic development opportunities. And then Betty McCollum with the Minnesota, she serves on the Native American Caucus, and talked about trust and treaty responsibilities, and everybody should know about them and remain steadfast in working for sovereignty. She said that the tribes need to know, that there's a lot of uncertainty for the country, especially Indian country, and tribes need to know about the budget, because tribes enter into obligations, and I think she's specifically talking about this year's funding, how it's cut in half. So that they enter into obligations, and they've got to be able to fulfill them, on the different projects. She talked about the hiring freeze and how the Veterans Affairs really needs to be exempted from that as they need their staff as well as Indian Health Service. And she said that a bipartisan letter went out from her and Tom Cole to exempt IHS, BIA, and other federal agencies that provide vital service. And she said it looks like they may honor it. So they had the champions of change, and it was Senator Byron Dorgan. And when he left office, he started this to where he works with youth, and they were really impressive. There were 5 of them and that were highlighted, and then they had a reception for them one evening. There was a Major General Jackson, Jim Jackson, and he's seeking assistance because he was assigned by Congress to reach Vietnam veterans and thank them for their service and welcome them home, since so many of them were not welcomed home after the Vietnam War. He said that there were 86,000 Indians that served, 90 of them volunteered, and 60 of the Vietnam veterans are still alive today. He said there were 7 million veterans from October 1, 1955 to May 1975. So those are they're looking for veterans, Vietnam veterans during those 20 years. Congress assigned him this task and to go and personally honor them individually. So they're recognizing the MIAs and the POWs, and he also reminded everybody that it's not the soldiers that start the wars. And he said that they have reached and thanked 1.4 million of the veterans so far, and that they have conducted 300 interviews, and only 3 have been Native. He said we're losing about 380 Vietnam veterans every day, so he asked us to please help him. And he did, I don't have his contact information, but I will get that and send it out to everybody so that you can help with that. So, Mark Wayne Mullen spoke, and he said that right now there's only 2 Indians in Congress, him and Tom Cole. And I think that's really, those are the highlights. Like I said, if you guys want to report, I will do my final edit and get it to you. But thank you.
Donna Mercer. There was something I forgot to report with my report A. I just remembered a while ago. I got word yesterday that the letter that we sent to the school board, it got approved. They waited a month. They had approved last month that the earrings, the boys could wear earrings, but the school board meeting was Monday night, and they approved the eagle feathers or plumes on the cap. So, and then also they said that Dr. Evans, he really spoke up to have that passed. He spoke up as a veteran, and that's what he fights for, was our rights, and he really gave a powerful speech to ensure that was passed, and so it was passed. So now we're going to be on the hunt for the Eagle Feathers Day. And then I guess I'll have to get with Vicki and find out how many graduates. Last time I heard there was, I think Mr. Williams told me there was only like 10 Native American students. But I'll find out for sure the number. And then I was going to look at probably contact the Iowa Nation, see if they possibly have some that we can have, just to request that. And I know several people who already, I announced it at the language class last night, and just let them know that, it was passed, and so, and let them know that we'll be looking at anyone donating, because it says 3 to 6 months to request those feathers, and there's no guarantee they'll come in or not. So I just thought it might, if there's that many, then we may just be able to get them from the Ava area over there, the Iowa's.
There's also Avery, the Comanches also have.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they have an Eagle repository down there.
As well as CPN and Shawnee, Susan Potawatomi Nation.
Oh, they
They have it in
wow. We need to start looking for our Eagle that's like
Thank you for that comprehensive report. I appreciate it. But yes, I would like a copy because, I'm interested in VAWA and championing that, as a tribal leader. We don't want that to go away. Yeah, thank you.
Right.
Secretary Wilson, are you the contact person for those eagle feathers?
Yeah, I could be.
Hey.
Well, I put it out there that, if anybody had any they wanted to donate, then, yeah, I would take care of that.
And thank you, Amy, for championing that and taking it. I appreciate it. Yes.
I just wanted to say that that's great news to hear about the school board. I think that's something really fascinating, and maybe other schools will bear witness to that too as well. But I wanted to say, Donna, that was a really good report. Sounds like you really did take in a lot of things, and you brought a lot of stuff that we as a council need to really be cautious of and pay attention to. And you have some things there that hopefully we're be really optimistic about, and stuff. So I want to thank you for your report. I thought it was really informative. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and I want to thank all of you for the attention, that you gave, while I gave my report. I didn't see anybody nodding off. But I want to thank Amy and for taking, I want to echo everybody in thanking her for looking at this now, because, it put us in a situation where we'll have everything set up instead of, the day before graduation and being angry and dealing with it. So this is really good. What you did was really good, and I think that we need a Lulu.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Let me, I went up to the board meeting, school board meeting Monday to listen in, and they had a real short agenda, and they flew through it. And so by the time I got there, they already approved it. They already approved that. But it's my understanding that the mortar board wasn't approved on the cap. What was approved was a sash or a medallion type, the collar. Those were approved. And so what I did is I asked Jamie and Dorna to go up and speak to the school and yesterday, and so they went up yesterday to get clarification on actually what was approved, and so that's their understanding and of what was approved by the school for that. Now she was here earlier, and I said, well, do you have a report? As far as written, and they didn't. So I said, well, get us a written report and specifics and examples of what they actually approved and what they're seeking from the Pawnee Nation and from Indian students and things. And so she's going to do that, and then Amy, I told her to get in touch with you and go through you on what the school actually, something on paper, to give to you, and that way you can present it.
Well, our request was to be put on the cap.
Well, I don't know.
So if they approved our request, then it states specifically in our request that it's to be put on the cap. Because they had already presented that, and I was like, no, I don't want that. Because not every Indian student up there is a part of NPIC club. Because he was saying, well, you can put it on a stove and, as part of the NPIC club. And we're like, well, not every student's a part of NPIC club. So I said, that's not gonna work. So anyway, that was our continuing argument. I said, no, it's to go on the hat, because otherwise we could have just settled for that at that last month's meeting. I didn't want to be mean about it or anything. I was trying to present it in a real good, positive way. But I think we didn't donate enough money to the Pawnee public school system that they shouldn't even hesitate. There should have been no month wait. It should have been passed right then and there. And so if they approved what we requested of them, it stated in that letter that it's to be worn on the hat. And so that's the way that I took it, because that's the way that I was told that it was approved. And I'll go up there and meet with Mr. Williams and myself, because that isn't even in a policy. All they do is hand out a letter to all those who are graduating and tell them that they can, that, oh, you know, you got to dress this certain way when you're covered in a gown, but you have to dress a certain way under that gown, you know, before you can walk across the stage. So, you know, to me, it's not even anything, it's not in the policy. So that's why I don't even know why they uphold it, but nevertheless, you know, they approved our request. That was in the request.
Is native dress allowable? Do the graduates?
No, they said that it's just, all it is just a letter that is signed by Mr. Miller, the principal. And it just states that boys have to wear, you wear your Sunday's best, basically is what it states. And it says with girls, no flip-flops.
That would be traditional dress, huh?
Somebody told me they tried that before and they were turned down for their traditional clothes. But I was just like, you know, because my son's going to graduate this year, so it's just like, so what? If you wear a feather in your hair, are they going to not let you walk the stage? You know, because you know, there's some that don't want to wear the cap and gown. That's why they don't want to walk the stage. So. But no, I'm sorry, that's not going to be good enough for me for a stove. It's not, because it was stated in there, and you either approved what we asked or you didn't approve it. You know, so. But I was told that they said that they approved it. So that's what I was told. So maybe I need to go up there and talk to him myself. I said, I want you to tell me to my face. Hey.
Okay, so we still need some clarification. So Pam, you're still in charge of that?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, all right.
I'll give a letter.
Did you have a report? No. Okay, so thank you for all the reports, and we will move on to item number, and make sure I'm right now, 9. Pawnee Nation Executive Director Report. This time you are up.
Morning, Council. I too went to NCAI. That's the only travel I've done in a while. It was a good meeting. Councilwoman Hare, I think, highlighted the speeches appropriately, so I won't get into that. I'll talk a little bit about, you know, I attended the VAWA conference as well. I also attended the TANF meeting breakout session because we're looking to incorporate TANF into our 477 plan. There's a House bill from 2015, HR 3026, that's waiting for authorization still. It's the Tribal TANF Fairness Act, and what it does is it amends Section 412 of the Social Security Act and adds a rule of interpretation, basically allowing tribes to lease trust land or fee land at a fair market value for support of needy families, because the TANF originally constructed didn't envision, didn't give appropriations to tribes. So it's that breakout session was an educational one. It was also instructions on how to be the advocate for your congressmen and women when you met with them on Thursday. I also got NAGPRA must be protected as well. Anytime you hear a congressman say that NAGPRA must be protected, it means that he's hearing that NAGPRA might go away. So that's a worrying thing for me. But you know, one thing I found very quickly during the NCAI is there's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of people jockeying for positions, especially at that time. And there was so many unknowns that it made it difficult to kind of figure out what was exactly going to happen and what we needed to be on guard against. But the one thing I came away from the NCI was that we just need to be aware. We can't just ignore what's going on in Washington DC because it may have a direct impact on us as a tribal government and tribal community. I also attended a WIPO conference. WIPO is the World Intellectual Property Organization. It's a part of the UN. They're working on intellectual property protection rights of indigenous people and indigenous cultures. And right now, they talked about how Native tribes here in North America can't be members of WIPO, but they do have a tribal caucus that has representatives that are able to present and give input to the member states of the World Intellectual Property Organization. This is the new frontier for tribal governments, is the protection of intellectual property. The problem is we have this this traditional and cultural knowledge is owned collectively, and none of the schemas that are currently in place, especially here in the United States through patent, trademark, and copyright, really cover communal ownership of indigenous knowledge. And so the WIPO folks are trying to use the UN DRIP, the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, to kind of figure out a way to, if not create a new pathway for intellectual property protection, how to incorporate what we currently have in the world in place today and how to incorporate that traditional knowledge, because this affects a lot of the things that we're talking about discussing, like building our seed banks and our agricultural products, and how do we protect the DNA, so to speak, of our original strains of corn. All in all, it was a good meeting. The watchword of the day, I guess, is just vigilance. Stay vigilant as a Native government to what is going on in DC, because there's going to be a lot of changes. I know that if I took away anything from NCI, it would be that be prepared for changes. And whether those changes are positive or negative, depends upon exactly what's being changed, but it's going to change. So we've actually got a lot done since we last met. One of the things we were waiting on last time before we met to start the renovations of the buildings was the lead and asbestos scrape test. It came back positive for lead and asbestos. We knew it would come back positive. Now we're waiting on the insurance companies to tell us whether or not we're going to have the money to abate the entire building spaces, or just abate where the cracks are and the damage is done before they're fixed. So we're waiting on that. So that's going to increase the cost of the total damage to the buildings as well. The air quality studies have still been done, so we know that all the levels of lead and asbestos are below permissible exposure limits for occupancy. It's just that the earthquake has broken some of the encapsulation of where the lead is contained, so we're waiting to hear from the insurance companies to see how much of an abatement we have to do with the buildings. And every building was tested, all the historical buildings, so they all came back positive. Land management is going to be a big goal of mine here this year. The experience of walking our tribal lands with property and taro and TIPO, I've been now to see most of the land that we have either a percentage of ownership in or we own outright, and I've physically walked them. One thing I know for sure is that our land is not being properly managed. There's fencing is down in a lot of the areas. Overgrowth is just out of control. Cedar growth is out of control. So we as a nation have to have an effective land management plan that is built into the council's strategic plan for the tribe. Because one thing that does do is, it brings down the fair market value of the land. It just does, because it's not going to bring as much value to a lessee if they have to do a whole bunch of improvement on the land before they lease it. So, and the other thing is, we may want to use that land. When I was looking at the cost of the construction of the law enforcement center, a lot of that was, quite a bit of that cost and the initial building of that structure was the demolition of the land and preparing the land to accept the building. And so if we can effectively manage the lands, especially around here on our campus, it'll save us money for all projects. We're continuing to meet. Well, we are continuing to meet with the USDA as far as getting Brian and I's plan together for an ag plan. And we're incorporating kind of what has been here before. I know that Monty's done a livestock plan. I don't know that property's done a little bit of plan as far as what they're going to do with the reserve. And we're trying to incorporate it to include everything in land management and land use. And one of that is to standardize a set burn schedule here for land that's unoccupied or not leased, and then set a time for yearly inspection of these sites so that we can stay on abreast and on top of the current condition of the land that we are owners of. So we started that process. We did control burns. We did a demolition of the building behind 64, the old cottage. I don't know what the cottage house, it was like a bakery building, or what was it, Adrian? It was, it's been so many uses, I can't remember the original name. It was a home. Yeah. But it needed to go because of just the danger of it. We had kids, we have kids out here after hours that like to walk some of these buildings. And so we had to ask some kids the other day to leave the boys' dorm. They were exploring in the boys' dorm. So these kinds of things we need to do as a nation for safety, but also just, it's our land. We need to take care of it. So that's going to be a big push on my part, and it's going to be part of our ag plan as well. I mean, if we're going to utilize these lands for any kind of agricultural project, then they need to be fit for those projects, so we don't have to do added work in order to get something going here. I did meet with Mr. Lovecamp, the Pawnee Agency Superintendent, last week. It was a good meeting. He wants to move forward with an oil and gas statute. He's working to bring the Bureau of Land Management to the table so we can collectively create a oil and gas statute that will fit for the Pawnee Nation and address the concerns that we highlighted in the moratorium of October 2015. And he had some concessions and some concerns as well, and so we were able to address those issues. Continuing to meet with Earth Justice and get updates on kind of where we're at with our federal lawsuit. We're waiting to hear back a schedule order that kind of details what the timeline events is going to be with the lawsuit. We filed suit in tribal court on Friday against two underground injection control well operators in tribal court. Through our research, I think it's the first such action brought in tribal court in the state of Oklahoma, if not nationwide. So it was a pretty big deal. It was a full, I'm proud of the nation, and I mean it just to my core, because this is what sovereignty is. We are a nation of laws, and we are holding people accountable under our laws, so it was a big deal. We have a big schedule next week with spring break activities. Not only the kids in our public schools out on spring break, and they're going to participate in classes and activities. We have the Millikan University students coming here to spend the week with a full schedule of events. So we also started our fleet management. All the vehicles now have record jackets kept centrally with Department of Transportation. Maintenance schedules have been built up and worked up, and so this is just the very start, and just the other usual kind of bureaucratic stuff that we do here in the nation. So with that, do I have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, are you going to look into leasing other tribal land for our agriculture plan if needed?
Not yet. We're starting with the land that we have available, that we own 100% ownership with. We want to start our plan here, A, because it's visible, so our community members can see progress here on the land, but B, because we have the infrastructure in place here already to start, and that will be a future.
I understand all that, but I'm talking about in the future, looking in the future into it. Oh, well, I mean, it's just like what you're saying that, you know, to me, you know, to lease Indian land is cheaper than if you were to lease it from a non-Indian.
Depends on how much work.
Yeah, and then of course it all goes by, you know, what you're going to use the land for, if it's going to be grazing or how much is grazing and et cetera, et cetera. Okay, I understand all that. But what I also would like for us to do as a council is to maybe set up a community meeting and let our people know who have land that, you know, how to read their leases. Because I think a lot of people don't understand that in your lease agreements, most of them, they do have sections in there where it says that your leaser is supposed to keep your fences up, supposed to keep your land cleared of, like, you know, the cedar trees and other kind of brush.
Yes.
They're supposed to have an upkeep. It's in those leases, but I don't think people know that that's in their leases, and that, you know, they don't even bother reading them. They just sign them because they know there's going to be money coming in. But they need to make them be accountable, those leasers be accountable that, you know, otherwise they're getting away with a lot of money, you know, because they're not doing their part in keeping the land up. So maybe even something like that, a community meeting to let people know. And sad to say, you know, when we had the community meeting the last time, there were a few people, more than what I thought, but there were a lot of people afterward were asking, well, when's that meeting going to be? I really want to go to it. So, it happened last week, and they're like, what? You know, and I said, well, it was on the webpage. Well, I don't have internet, so I don't know. They just didn't never see when it was advertised or whatever. So maybe we could work a little more on our communication to the community. I don't know how we could better it, because I thought we pretty much had it covered, but.
I think Treasurer Thompson brought up, and Councilwoman Adson brought up a couple months ago the impact of what 638 and the realty function from the BIA would have on the nation, and that would go a long way towards it. The problem though is still even if we 638 that function, we have to operate under the BIA's rules and policies, and it's kind of complicated here because what the BIA does is they use a 51% measure. 50 plus 1 is basically what they do. So on approval for leases, when they send out these letters to landowners, if they get a majority of the landowners back, they will approve the lease. And we all know that we have a very small percentage of our tribal membership live within the jurisdiction. So the vast majority of the people that get letters may not even know that the land existed, may not have never seen it or laid eyes on it enough to really look at, you know, is a fence up, is a cedar overgrown. So part of what we are doing as a government is we are developing two things. We're going to develop an oil and gas handbook that is not only going to be presented to the producers and the pipeline guys or whatever so that they know what our tribal law is. It's going to be presented, and this is what Mr. Lovecamp was conceded to us, was that as part of his lease auction, he will hand a copy of that oil and gas handbook to landowners. He will send that to landowners. So we're going to put a section in there just to the tribal landowner, so that they know what questions to ask, they know what to look for in the lease before they even get their approval for any such documentation. But we also want to do that for our surface lease, just our hunting and grazing leases as well. So this will all be incorporated because the communication is the key and education is the key. But we're just going to saturate it as best we can to get as much information as we can to all of our landowners, right? Because even the Pawnee tribal member that lives in New Mexico or California, if they're signing documents that have an impact here, they need to have access to the information in order to make the best decision that they can make for their land. So this is all part of the plan.
Sounds great.
Yes, ma'am.
I need clarification on, after we filed the lawsuit in tribal court on Friday, after that was filed, there was a post on Facebook by, I think, KTUL, Channel 8, and it mentioned that we were suing 27 oil companies. Now, my understanding is that we were only suing 2 unless they have subsidiaries.
We have 2 named and 25 unnamed.
Okay.
And that's a procedural thing that we do in order to add defendants, because a lot of times when you bring these guys in court, the company A may say, well, we're not doing it, it's a subsidiary of ours, it's so-and-so Jones, and so we'll have to bring in, if we don't name it in the lawsuit, we have to do a new petition.
And that's okay, but that was not clearly defined when we met with them, and so when we met with them over at law enforcement, there was only 2 identified. There was no mention of any subsidiaries. I'm just wanting to make sure we have the same information prior to it getting out there to the public, because it was conflicting to me when I saw that.
Okay.
And so with that, I request that we get a copy of the brief filed.
Yes, we're going to put that online today, and a statement from the Attorney General.
Great. And also, I would like ask that council get a copy of that schedule that you talked about.
Yes,
for
we
the
did.
federal lawsuit. You had mentioned the lead asbestos.
Mm-hmm.
And so what buildings, is that building 64 or is it
It's
all?
all of the buildings in the historic district.
What is the health risk to our employees?
Negligible right now because the air quality is still below permissible exposure.
Okay, so they tested that, okay. The UCC code, you said that you were, in your report, you talked about getting that approved. I have, don't we already currently have a UCC?
We have Article 9 of the
Okay.
UCC currently within the tribe, and we have bits and pieces of the UCC that we found. I think we only found what,
Article 9.
We found Article 9.
I think usually there's 4 other articles, and 3 other articles that go with that as a companion.
Yeah, so we've only found Article 9, which is secure transactions, and that's an important piece too, but we haven't found any of the other articles that have been adopted by the nation
What
yet.
we'll have to do is just file a modified statute, keep the Article 9 and add the 3.
Well, and then we got word from the group that keeps updating the UCC.
UCC Board of Governors.
The Board of Governors, they're doing an Article 9
They're doing
for
it.
specific for tribes. So we may have to adopt a new one anyway.
Yeah,
Because it's tribal specific.
that one's not complete yet,
No, I know.
but
I know.
it's getting there, and I think it'll be very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And in regard to, I would also like a copy of the brief file for that Earth Justice so that I can read it and be informed of myself, so.
Oh, for the federal case?
The federal case,
Okay.
please. I was really excited when I seen the postcards come out about the election, and I think, but only one of our family, are you doing it just by household?
Yes, they did.
Yeah. by household.
Okay, but I was really excited to see that, so that, that's just informing them that one's coming up.
Yes.
And so is that listing is for the newsletters as well as only one household?
One per household,
Okay,
yes.
good. Okay, I wondered about that as well, so that clarifies that.
And Gina, I think, is working on that one right now, the election special Chaudix.
We're waiting for the candidates. to
That's
submit,
right.
And, yeah.
Okay, great. I am, and we don't have to get into specifics, but I am very concerned about how we're handling our substance abuse issues here at the nation. And I say that because I was reading your report in regard to the MSPI dollars that we got. I don't know what the grant requirements or what we propose that we're doing with those dollars, but it's a significant increase that we got. And some of the issues that I see with our substance abuse issues here in Pawnee is that when a person is ready to quit, they have to jump through tons and tons of hoops before they can even get in to detox. And that's a hindrance for our people, because by the time that they get into there, they change their mind or they're on a binge again. So I'm hoping that we're addressing those issues along with the meth, the meth issues, meth suicide prevention. All those go hand in hand, and I hope that we can really do something to where we can. I don't know. I know that they're health risk, and that's the health issues. They got to have the test, the TB, all those other blood tests and things like that before they can go into, because it's a health risk, a public health risk. But if there's some way that we can make that process go faster, so that when our people
are ready
to go, let's get them in there and go. Even if we do it ourselves, I mean, you know what I mean?
That's a very personal issue for me as well. And I do see the barriers, and a lot of the barriers are unfortunately cultural. Some of the folks that live within the community don't want to go to SAP because they know Barbara, and they know Mike, and they know they might run into their auntie or their nephew. And so a lot of them, sometimes they try to go to IHS, but maybe not IHS here, maybe IHS somewhere else. And what we need to do is we need to find, you're right, a better way that they can feel safe to come here, because SAP can provide that pipeline. We have those IHS funds sitting in the Ponca City Clinic for detox and all this other kind of the extreme measures that are needed when somebody's ready to go now. Because when they're ready to go, they need to go like today. They don't need to wait. They don't need to go through all the bureaucratic stuff that they have to go through. Because then they end up changing their mind or getting loaded and forgetting about it and disappear for 2 or 3 weeks. So we can provide that pipeline. It's just getting them into the door.
Right.
And that's where I think Barbara and the new staff, they're formulating a plan to try to make that process a little bit smoother for
That's good to hear.
the tribe, not only just Pawnee members, but tribal members in general.
Right. That's good to hear. Also, on the notice of violations, on that revenue, when it's filed in court, now where does that revenue go? Whose revenue is that?
It sits in trust until there's a final adjudication.
After it's adjudicated,
it goes to the general fund.
Great, that's what I needed to know. I know you all had the pool meeting, and I was not able to attend. What was the final? Did you all reduce the cost? Do I need to look for money?
Here, the pool issue, and we can talk about this, off camera if you'd like, but the pool issue is still an issue. We got the price down because we had a meeting with Jordan Cox with IHS on the inspection, and we were able to not have to add the plumbing that we thought we were going to have because we're attaching to this building. And he's okay with deck showers. As a matter of fact, he prefers deck showers rather than having a shower facility for people. So that was able to save us a lot of money. And we were also having, they had doubled up on a cost on their cost projection. They had taken 2 numbers and added them together, so they removed that. And right now we're down to 1.4 for the total price of the project. It was $666,000 cash from us.
Okay, so 1.4, and we just need 660. So okay.
Yeah. But again, that is providing the council
basics.
with the bare minimum.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yes,
Also, there was something in here about title, and I don't know if we want to go, I don't need any names, but maybe just what happened. Title VI salary disputes or disputations.
Oh, yeah, HR handled that.
Okay.
HR
So
handled that.
there's nothing, I mean, the budgets are all okay, that's my.
Yes, the budget, it had nothing to do with the budget.
Okay, great. That's all I needed to know. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Donna?
Okay, so I had a question. What was your last question, Angela?
On the Title VI salary disputations.
The pool.
Yes, thank you.
Adrian and I's pool. Have we abandoned looking at it as physical therapy and working with Indian Health Service?
We haven't abandoned any
Okay.
ideas,
Okay.
because right now the pool as it's designed, because it's a commercial pool, which means that it can handle any of that right now. So it's a 3-lap pool, a 3-lane lap pool right now. But it is the basics, so it could be used as a physical therapy pool. I mean, it's got the handicap ramp still onto it, so I mean it's.
Okay. So yeah, we just need to, as we move forward, look at collaborations if possible.
Yes, we are looking at all options.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I have one on the pool. So didn't we put up the construction as a bid to several builders?
Yes.
And this was...
Well, this is the A&E firm. This is just A&E. This hasn't gone to any CM yet.
Oh,
This is just the projection from architects and engineers.
okay.
It's the first step.
It's the first step. And did we project this funding before? I mean, it seems like this is all quite a surprise to me that we're on the hook for $600,000.
Yeah, and there's multiple issues with that. One of them is the cost. Since 2015, when this was first proposed to council, the cost has risen 25% for constructions of pools, and it's going to rise another 15% this year. So, I mean, when you're talking those kinds of numbers, a 40% increase in
Significant.
It's,
I mean, I think
pretty
it's
basic.
kind of a rethink, right?
Yes.
I mean, for me,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
When is the next meeting?
For the Aquatic Center,
Uh-huh.
I don't know, Brian, did we haven't planned one yet? We're going to plan one soon.
Okay,
We'll-
and we can talk about all
Yes.
that then.
Yes.
Okay, I do have some other questions.
Sure.
Looking through here, the website and Facebook's accounts are being updated on an as-needed basis. I got a message from my niece who works in Washington in the Department of Education, and she said we're going to be doing a webinar survey on native language efforts soon. Do you have the contacts for the native language experts? And so I was looking it up on the website, and I cannot find anything about the Cultural Resource Division. Can you show me where it's at?
Can I show you what CRB?
I don't see it on here. Am I just overlooking it?
No, it may not be on there. I'm
So
not.
it needs to be updated.
Okay, well, we can update that.
And then...
But I will warn you that we're redesigning the website, so.
Yes, she said that last
You know,
one. I'll be
yeah.
excited to see it.
Yeah.
There is a language, the language handouts are online.
Okay, but she was wanting the names of the people in the division, like the rest of the other divisions. There's nothing under divisions, is there?
Yeah, I mean, there's, Herb is
There's nothing
information.
under divisions on the website
For-
about the cultural resource.
Yeah, there's not a CRD
But
link.
you're going to be putting that on this new one, or?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll explain that to her. Also, I'm just reading out of here. Photographs were taken of the various activities that were hosted by the Pawnee Nation. Where are they? Where can you find them? Are they put on the website?
They're put on, I don't know where Gina puts them.
Okay.
She takes the pictures and she loads some on the slideshow, some on links. You have to scroll down into some of the links. And then in some of the divisions, they have, on their own slideshows, they have links to pictures as well, too.
Okay, so there's nothing, okay.
Well, it's a poorly designed website. I mean, that's why.
And is that going to change? Because when you look at other
It's
tribal...
It's bad. That's why we're blowing it up.
Okay, I was going to say, when you look at other tribal websites, you can see there.
Yeah, well, it's not the
immediately
worst.
see everything.
It's been...
I know that, but it's not bad. Okay, let's see.
One of the keys is going to have the division directors have access to adding changes to the website
Yeah.
rather than just having, because Gina, she's here right now,
Yeah.
And there may be information that needs to go out on the website so that
Can't
it's
make it to all the
correct.
events, yeah, that'd be good. On the, let's see, under maintenance department, you listed or they listed everything that was done. And as a traveler and cooking in the kitchen at Rum
Chief?
Yeah, Rum Chief, I have been asked several times about a professional grease remover on the stove and the hood.
Okay.
If that could be, maybe when the elders get theirs done, maybe they can come over and do this one too.
And fix the oven door.
Yeah, no, the
Oh,
oven
that's
door.
right. A new oven.
Well, we're trying to prioritize and we're getting ready to put in a new floor at Rome Chief.
Oh,
So,
good, okay.
You know, we're gonna pull the carpet out, we're gonna put a new floor in,
Oh, good.
and so we're prioritizing.
New paint.
New paint.
You know,
We're-
folks, to me, when we entertain other tribes and all these different, we had that lady over here, with,
Yeah,
shame, the floor is awful.
I know. And I'm getting married in there July 15th, so that's why this is all getting done.
All right, okay, one more. You have the CRD committee meeting, a new member, Helen Norris, who resigned.
That would be William Howe.
Okay, I was just curious, let's see. Okay, that's all, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So since you're getting married at Rome Chief, she knows she's marrying the tribe, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, she's been briefed.
Can she make bread?
I got a family full of women. She's been briefed.
All right. Oh,
A good report, by the way. I appreciate the work that you do. You made some comments on something that brought something up to mind. You talked about patents and stuff, on our seeds. I think that's what you had mentioned, but I know you made a mention about patents. I had was doing some reading here the other day, and I happened to come across a video about. Of course, we all know about GMO, things like that, and how Monsanto has a patent on a lot of their seeds. And so I've been reading where a lot of farmers now in the country are starting to patent their non-GMO seeds. Now, us as a Pawnee Nation, we have our own traditional seeds. Granted, some other tribes have those same seeds as well. Is there something that we can go about to see about patenting them as well, so that nothing can happen to them? Maybe if that's something like a coalition with other tribes that have the same seeds, to where we can see about protecting them.
Here's the limitations with our intellectual property protection as we know it. Patent, yes, gives you exclusive protection for an invention or something novel. And you have the right to alienate, you have the right to keep it for yourself, but it's only for a certain period of time. And once that time frame ends, it becomes public domain, right? So if we pay a lab to do the genetic code of our heritage seeds, right? Yes, we can patent that genetic information, but after 20 years, it becomes public domain. Right, anybody can use it. And we don't have the resources like a Monsanto or any other genetic firm, because what they do is that they will add a gene to a certain thing, whatever, and then right before their patent expires, they will tweak another gene. And it's so essentially they're going to keep a perpetual kind of protection, patent protection, because they have the ability and the resources to do that. We don't. After 20 years, our protection of our knowledge of the heritage seeds would become public domain, and then anybody can have access to it. So this is the issue that indigenous folks have when it comes to intellectual property, is how do we protect our communal knowledge, right, in a scheme that really doesn't really envision community protection. Because what patent was invented for was for the inventor, the single-minded American with the American dream to invent the great product and be protected for 20 years, and he can make all the money or she can make all the money they want, and then, you know, whatever. It's not for native knowledge. And so I had looked in the stuff that we have in the office, and I could tell in the past that this has been something that the tribe has tried to do, is kind of make a intellectual property protective scheme in our tribal courts. And so we just have to look at that, and we have to, I don't pretend to be smart enough or knowledgeable enough in order to create something like that, but it's definitely a conversation that we have to have. It's like, how best do we protect our seeds from a Monsanto, right? Or some other company that wants to genetically map our corn and reap profit from it, because they will if they can, and if it's able to make money. So
I have, right along with that too, I had a conversation this weekend with Morgan Wilson. He's in the process of making some teepees for some individuals and things, and one of the things that I know and that we had discussed about is Pawnees. We have our own style of teepees that we make. Charles Bay Heyman was a teepee maker, Frankie Davis was a teepee maker, and then Morgan is a teepee maker. And we all have, they all patterned the same style, and what was made popular was Bay Heyman, Charles Bay Heyman. And so one of the things that we was talking about, when I was discussing, is that, you know, how different tribes are coming around to ask him to make teepees for them because they like that style. And one of the things that we're talking about was that, and somebody had mentioned, was that you have places like Crazy Crow, you know, it's you know, just and they get companies to make these different styles of teepees. They have Sioux teepee, Cheyenne teepee, Crow style teepee and stuff. So one of the things is that what we discussed was about, he was worried about, well, what if some of these people get a hold of this Pawnee style teepee and just start mass producing them? And then here we are, him as an individual that's still carrying that on, and even as us as a nation, maybe not, maybe losing out on that. Mm-hmm. So what is the possibility, you talked about being an invention or something like that, what is the possibility of us Pawnees getting a patent on our teepee style?
there's always a possibility that the patent would be a little bit more difficult, just because there's other ways I think you could go about protecting that, and trademark kind of stands right off the bat, because trademark, that is, since it's a Pawnee style or something, then, because we have to show that, for a patent speaking, we have to show that, you know, our way of building the teepee is completely unique. And I don't think a Western patent guy would look at our teepee and be able to really tell the difference between our teepee and a Northern Plains teepee. They would say, well, all I see is you know, a bunch of poles and a canvas or nylon or animal skin hide, and they all look like teepees to me. And so it wouldn't be unique enough to get through that Western kind of patent style. But trademark is a little bit more lenient, and you could trademark a style. And that might be a possibility, to say that, yeah, we're not patenting a teepee, because we know the teepees have been around for eons, but what we are is we are trademarking our style of teepee. And that's one way.
We looked into that. We talked about it, what, 3 years ago, Bruce? Some doctor came down from...
Well, it wasn't teepees for...
No, but it was trademarking everything with the tribe.
The seal, everything
seal,
else like that.
Yeah, which would go with that.
But, you know, it was just kind of a thought, you know, it was just kind of kicking it around, and we thought, well, you know, if we make these teepees, you know, if he makes them, and maybe he has a stamp or something you can put on there, you know, so...
But that's the problem with communal knowledge, right? I mean, it's how do you go about protecting, you know, aspirin, right? Because tribes in South America have been using plants to make salicylic acid forever. And so how do we protect, yes, we know how to make teepees and we can't patent a teepee because that's an invention that everybody knows about. But how do we go about using the Western way of protecting intellectual property, trademarking it? And so we'll have to look into all those issues as well. And I think the previous governments here have started on the right track by trying to implement our own code, our own intellectual property code. That may be a stronger way of protecting some of these things because we can go enforce our law against somebody else as well. So
Just food for thought, it was just something that was brought up, and I thought it was very interesting.
Yes, sir.
So I just thought I'd put it out there.
yes, sir.
All right, well, thank you, Andrew. And let's take 10-minute break. Start back in to the meeting. Move to items, and Attorney General has.
Yeah, I've been very busy the past 7 to 10 days. I've got my report going, but not quite finished. I will be finishing that and forwarding it to the members of the council. The petition in the complaint, Councilor Thompson, and also my press conference or press release will be on the website either later today or sometime tomorrow. If you have any questions, you know how to get hold of me.
Okay.
And then also, I've already talked to Councilor Sammy about her letter, and I'll be looking at the letter and putting something together and get back to you, okay?
That's great. Thank you.
All right.
All right, well, thank you. So with that, we will move to item number 11, new business. And number 1, approval of mileage rate change.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion is made. Is there-
I'll second.
We have a motion by Donna and a second by Angela.
All this is that the government rate changed, and we're just being in line.
Lower, right?
Yeah, Lord.
We're getting less.
Trump already cut.
Call for the vote.
That's 44, 54 cents a month? 54 Okay, motion was by
Donna. Second by Angela.
Darrell Walker.
Yes.
Baby Littleson, yes. Angela Thompson.
Yes.
Sammy Edson. Yes. Donna Hare.
Yes.
Adrian Spotted.
Yes.
Leanna Peters.
Yes.
Okay, the mileage rate change is approved. We'll move to item number 2, approval of resolution 1720 and authorization letter for domain name change.
I have a question regarding that. What's the impact on IT to get this done? Do you know?
Minimal.
I mean, so.
It's to change, I mean, it would be to change the domain names of the email addresses only, but it'll transition over. The way it works the first time is that once we get approved for a name change, .org will link to
Right, it just migrates over.
NSS.gov.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
And the reason for the move is one, it's a top level domain.
Yes.
.gov is a top level domain, which means that it's absolutely secure as the internet sites can be. It is never going to go black. It's always going to be there, and it's exclusive to us.
Right.
Like we own it. It can't be transferred or bought. .com right now is owned by somebody. So if we wanted to purchase .com, it would cost us over $4,000 or I think it's $3,800 now.
Yeah.
Give or take.
.com or .org?
.com. We have .org.
Well, it's a premium domain. No one
It's a
owns
premium
it.
domain.
It's more expensive.
Okay, great. So just gonna migrate over and it's all good.
And it legitimizes
It does.
the nation, and
It's a good
I mean,
thing.
it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
What budget is this coming out
Communications.
of? Okay. And why do we have to have it by resolution?
because .gov requires a certain step for NSN, which stands for Native Sovereign Nations.gov. They require a tribal resolution in order as part of the application process.
Okay, I make that motion.
Motion is made, is there a second?
A second.
Adrian seconds. Call for the vote.
Darrell Walcott.
Yes.
Randy Littleton, yes. Angela Thompson.
Yes.
Sammy Anderson.
Yes.
Donna Hare.
Yes.
Adrian Spotted Horseshoe.
Yes.
Leanna Peter.
Yes.
All right, so resolution 1720, what?
I was just checking to see if this was on. Does it sound like it's on? It don't sound like
It's
it's
on.
I want y'all to hear me.
Resolution 1720 is approved. We move to item number 12, open forum.
I have open forum. Topic. I want to know, when are we going to start addressing these tabled items that are on our agenda? We probably want to start getting them to bubble up and start resolving some of them.
Okay,
So shall we just take 1 and 2 and start from there, add it to the agenda for our next meeting? What's our priority?
5 and 6 will be, they requested to be on this
Yeah.
agenda.
yeah.
Lonnie's sick.
5 and 6.
We're on the water, wastewater rig and the water resource use permit. We're just almost there.
Okay, good.
If not there.
We're
The only-
there.
The only thing is that Monty would like to be here to co-present.
course.
And so he's been under the weather.
Yeah.
And so I fully expect us to be taking that up at the next meeting.
Okay, well, can we, Donna, what do you think? These are all.
On our HR, we will be addressing those at
This
our
month,
meeting.
yeah.
And so Sammy, I was looking at the same thing, and that really bothers me if we follow Robert's Rules of Order.
Yeah.
Because they're supposed to fall off after
Sure.
a certain time or have a designated
Sure.
date. So, yeah, let's work at getting them all resolved, because I thought that we were going to have some new council people come on, or, you guys may stay. There may be a change in some council positions. And, it would be good to kind of start with those table
Well,
items off.
I would say so, and I'd like to get those resolved as soon as possible. So can we look to seeing these maybe on the agenda next meeting? Okay. Thank you.
The top two fall under budget, and these were presented, I think even before Andrew was here in his position. I would just recommend that we take them off until Andrew can bring them back.
Okay.
Where they want to go
Can we
at
do
that
that?
time.
I think that the credit card policy, I think a lot of that has to do with travel. And I think we took a lot of that, we took care of that with the travel policy, so that might be able to just fall off.
Well, I think the credit card policy dealt with having actual credit cards for council. We were going to start with council.
Oh, with
having-
GSA cards?
Yeah, with GSA cards, and then go it down to employees once we ironed out all the things on council.
Yeah, take them off and I'll look at them and bring them.
Okay.
FYI, on the Supreme Court Justice, there is a case that's currently pending. It has been pending for, I think, at least 2.5 months. Last week, I did contact some of the justices and remind them, hey, we need to hear something. So I think we'll be here getting a decision from them, and once that happens, then that case will be over, it will settle out, and you guys can figure out, well, that'll be the call to the council on what you'd like to do at that seat.
Okay.
So,
And the grievance procedure?
Yeah, on that one, it has a resolution
103?
103. So I would be agreeable to just removing it from the agenda and us bringing it back with
Okay.
a new resolution number, if that's agreeable with council.
Have we used that resolution number, or are we saving it?
We saved it.
All of them have resolution numbers that were just reserved. But we can, I can just put it in there, withdrawn or whatever.
All right.
okay, so what we can do is entertain a motion to take off 1, 2, and 3.
And 5 and 6.
No.
No, 4, 5, and 6 will
Maybe this day.
be brought.
Okay, there we go.
Brought back.
That'll work.
Okay?
That's great. Thank you.
Okay, so entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Who was that?
I made a motion and she seconded.
Who's she?
Leanne.
Okay, didn't sound like me, I didn't know who that was.
Okay.
All right.
Could you make that motion again? Could you make that motion?
I make a motion to remove items 1, 2, and 3 from the tabled items, so executive director can bring them back and HR when they're ready.
And I second that.
I have 2 items.
Oh, we need to vote on it.
Oh, sorry.
Call for vote.
Darrell Walker.
Yes.
Amy Littleson, yes. Angela Thompson.
Yes.
Sammy Anson.
Yes.
Donna Hare.
Yes.
Aaron White Horseshoe.
Yes.
Leanne Pugh.
Yes.
Okay, so those 3 items are removed from the agenda, and the other 3 will be brought as soon as possible. Yes, sir.
Oh, just a reminder, I have a community meeting, March 19th on Sunday, 2 through 4 p.m. It's going to do with the A&A I-Lead. If y'all want to, family members, show up, that'd be great.
Sunday, 2 to 4.
2 to 4.
March 19th.
And where at?
Well, that purpose, 1 to 2. I had the flyer, it's already up on the website, or it'll be soon.
Oh, okay.
And it'll be down
March
Saturday,
19th?
March 19th.
On Sunday, from 2 to 4 for A&A.
I-Lead.
Yes, sir.
On the 19th now, we got that hand game. up
Hand
there.
game with the calls.
What time's that?
We'll start at 7 o'clock.
Starts at 2, starts at 2.
Okay, was it, we might be switching. So, scratch that.
Well, now, I'm just throwing this out there now. I don't know how many people will go to call. You know, I don't know how many council members will go to call, but, you know, I'd still be able to have a meeting.
What do y'all think?
Yeah, not everybody's gonna go to call.
So it's okay to still have it? Okay.
I mean, it's a community
It's a
meeting,
community
and I think you're gonna have community people that probably
Yeah.
should be involved.
I think it's.
Yeah, go ahead and have it.
For sure, put it in the chief too.
But just know that
Chief.
if your council ain't there, we're gonna hang it. Well, I would encourage, you know, we talk about our culture. We talk about it, we're supposed to support it, whatever is part of our culture. We are being challenged. We're being challenged by some cause. When their elders came over here, when they came over here during that employee fun day we hosted, they didn't even, none of their elders knew how to play, so this is a sure win, so. Let's go show them how it's done.
I just wanted to say, I was gonna say that I could take them all by myself if need be, so.
Will you guys even be back from Nebraska?
Yep.
It's on Sunday. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Angela?
I would just like to request something if possible, and I think it will help keep all council informed. And I know a lot of paperwork comes through your office that we may not be aware of, correspondence incoming and outgoing. I was hoping maybe we could set up a correspondence on the share drive so that if council wants to go in and read any of that incoming correspondence and outgoing correspondence, that it's there on the share drive. Is that a reasonable request, Cindy, from your office to do that? Okay, great. That's one request. The other thing is I got a call regarding tax commission. Apparently they're allowing people to call in, and I'm not objective to this, to having teleconference calls and things like this. But what's making it difficult is that when the person that's calling in is the secretary, holds the secretary, and it's hard. So they're not there to take the notes, and they're having to repeat those motions and who and by. You know, it's already difficult when you're there in person, but when they're calling in and they can't see or recognize who makes that motion, it's making it more time consuming and the meetings look, it's inconvenient. Yeah, so, like I said, I'm not really opposed to teleconference, but if the person that's going to serve as an officer may need to be from the local area so that they can attend those meetings for record purposes.
All right. I wasn't aware of this, but we'll look into this.
Okay.
Thank you.
And one more announcement. My son has a fight on March 24th, and I hope y'all can come out and make it and support him. Appreciate it. It's going to be a good one.
That'll be downtown.
Yeah, it's in Shawnee at the Shawnee Event Center, which is right behind the grocery store. They're going to have a pro and an amateur fight. Actually, his coach, his trainer, is fighting as well for the amateur championship. His name's Vincent Cato. So y'all can come. We'll see you there. Thank you.
All right.
I don't know if it's a question or a statement, or maybe an idea. How about that? As far as this call-in for secretary, is it possible that maybe somebody that's there can record the minutes and then later on, give that to the secretary so they can do the notes?
That's possible, but you're putting an additional job duty on somebody else who accepted that position. You see what I'm saying? I mean, if they're willing to do that, that would be fine, but I just, that was what.
I mean, I totally understand what you're saying, because, I respect the call-in part, but also too taking the notes, that's gotta be. Another question for, go ahead.
Let me check on that. I haven't heard anything about that, and see what's going on, and then give you a report next.
I have a question for Donna.
Yes.
You made a comment about Robert's Rules of Order. Do we follow, or is it a guide?
What's that?
Do we follow, or is it a guide? Robert's Rules of Order.
Oh, I think we have said that it's a guide. I think that's what we have used it for.
Yeah.
And not a lot of, some tribes really do more consensus building than they do. And that was I think probably our traditional way of governing. And
I remember years in the past that they were using it, and there was I got a book one time, Robert's Rules of Order. There was so much stuff in it that made it more complicated, I thought. And I think somewhere in there it changed to using it as a guide. So I didn't know if it, by your comment, I didn't know if it went back to we were using it or what. So that's all.
I have one.
This past weekend, I got a message from an elder who appreciated the letter for the turkey at Thanksgiving, but he did not get a card in the letter. Do you? Okay, I'll let you know.
I wanted to know when our next strategic planning meeting is.
Next strategic planning meeting?
I'll get that out as soon as possible. You talked about it yesterday, we haven't put a confirmed date yet. I'll definitely get one out next week.
For this year, suggest.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll probably be the same week, it's probably the next PBC meeting. Just what we're looking at that week, I think around, the 23rd, is where I'm at right now.
Would it be possible maybe to have a late afternoon meeting that could roll into our council, or maybe the day before, starting like at 3?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that we need a full 8 hours, because really you don't.
I think we do, because we need to start on the constitutional changes.
Well, the constitutional, as what I've heard or been instructed to, was kind of leave that with the governing documents committee.
We don't have a governing documents.
We're the governing documents committee.
In the strategic plan book, you have.
Well, it used to be there and stuff, but then it just kind of fizzled out, basically.
Oh, yeah, fizzled out.
And then we had decided that we were going to own up to it and take control of it. Because that governing doc that years past was just there to help other previous councils and stuff. But we haven't had since I've been on council for 4 years now, I think they had one meeting, maybe 2.
So Brian, can we limit them to like 4-hour meetings rather than?
That's what I'm looking at for.
Yeah, you lose
If
a
we want
lot
to
of.
have, I think 8 hours is just like she said, overwhelmed, but we can do maybe back-to-back 4 hours.
Sure.
Would be.
No, that's fine. However you're gonna set, because I know you're a busy person too. I know that, and so, I don't have no problem, you know, have them every 2 weeks or whatever. I'm just wanting to get things done.
Okay.
And I'm tired of, not getting nothing done. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, this week I'll send out a confirmation date.
Okay, that'd be great.
And I'll set the first one up for a later date.
Yeah.
Because I think we need to make that decision on our governing docs, our beginning, because we're gonna have to get the BIA involved in order to get them constitutional changes made. And they're just gonna be little baby steps, so the sooner we get started on it, then the sooner we're gonna get it done.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Donna?
Thank you. I did omit a couple of things from my report that I just wanted to add. And one was attending the tribal policy discussion on the Affordable Act and its impact on Indian country, which was hosted by Representative Paul Ruiz of Congress and Congressman Colon. And what it basically was a roundtable, and he wanted to get the testimony of, you know, the tribal leaders there about the health care. They never did make it down, you know, as far as where I was seated. So the other thing was that I went and worked the Hill on Thursday and didn't have appointments set up. So what I did was go into as many Congress and senators' offices as I could, sign the book, and ask them to honor the treaties and tribal sovereignty. And I thank the ones who have been, I wrote thank you to those who have been supporting us.
Good job, good job. And thank you.
President Pratt, I'd like to bring up the Millikan University students that are coming here Sunday. As a council, are we hosting this dinner, or who is?
In the past, the council has been participation because what we try to do on the first night is just meet, get a feel of what they're here to expect, and get to know them a little bit, and then they move throughout their week.
So it's basically a meet and greet on Sunday night. Are we providing meals? I mean,
It's a potluck, but we'll do a majority of it. If you want to bring something for dessert, bring something and sure.
And this is a very small group this time. Yeah, we had, up to about 15 before. This time it's only going to be about 5 of them in all.
okay.
So when is the dinner?
It's Sunday evening at 6. They'll be rolling into town around 6, so we wanted to have everything prepared by about 5:36.
On the 12th.
On the 12th. We're going to be at Rome Chief. They're going to be at Rome Chief for the whole week. They'll be staying the night there.
Yeah.
And we'll have a lot of their functions there. Monday evening is their hand game. The CRD is going to put that on this year. Usually it's the Employees Club, but the CRD is going to do it. And they're going to have a hand game at 6 p.m. It's up for 6 p.m. over at the Rome Chief.
And that's the week of the 9th.
See the 13th.
So we got some gift bags and stuff.
Yeah, we're preparing stuff for their last day. I don't know if CRD is going to do anything during the hand game, but we also have a dinner on their last evening, and that's where everybody can come. It's kind of a farewell kind of dinner. It's Thursday. And we'll give them gifts and stuff like that, and kind of have our final reception for them, and then they leave early that Friday morning.
And that's at 5:30.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, let me add this before we end. Did any of you see that letter from Governor Fallon's office about the Shawnee Nation? They got approved to put a casino in Diamond, Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, what's real unique about this is they've never been there before. So they don't have any ancestral place there in Diamond. And the reason stated by Mary Fallon to approve, and it was approved by Interior, to allow this tribe to build that casino there was for economic development. And so economically, yeah, way out there. And so, but what I found unique was that I'm pretty sure that reading what I read was they're only going to do Class 3 gaming, which the, you know, the state really gets a big cut out of that. And it didn't look like there was Class 2 gaming in there, which, you know, the tribes mainly keep. So I just thought that was interesting, and I think I got an email on it, and I'll send it to you, what was sent to me. But I didn't know if you all received that or not.
So,
Yeah.
so they bought land in Guyman and now they're gonna set up a casino.
And it's going into trust.
I'm telling you, I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, you know, I don't know if it's the same thing you got, but I just kind of read a little news article about it and stuff, and I found it very interesting because exactly what you said, they have no cultural ties or anything to that area. But that's what it was solely based on, was the fact that part of the state is nothing.
Right.
And they wanted to bring some kind of tourism and then all this other kind of stuff to that area. And the Shawnees were just right on it, you know.
well, the Shawnees don't have a land base. They don't have a place for themselves right now, so, you know, they benefited, and Chickasaw benefited big time because they're the ones, funding the money and building.
Well, and even to take that step further, look at the Iowas who are going to start internet gaming.
Yeah. So, anyway, there's ideas out there, you know, that's what's, okay, the other thing is Janie Hip on March 31st, and Brian is setting that up and he'll get us more information as far as the actual times, so that's good. Also was contacted by Adrian Carmen Topachi. Well, I don't know what her married name is, but Carmen Topachi contacted me, and she would like to, she's with I left the note in my office, but she's with a group that does MMA fighting.
Okay.
And she has an Indian, Indian owned and Indian business. And she would like to meet with us sometime between March 20th through the 22nd.
Angela, maybe come
I would have to, well, I'm probably flying out on the 20th.
I can meet with her if anything, you know.
And she just wants to meet with us and do a presentation and, like to do something here and see where it goes.
If anything, I don't know, are you going to be gone at that time, Angela? 'Cause
Yeah.
she was with me during the interviews when we interviewed each other.
I'll be gone that week and hopefully coming back on the 23rd for the meeting. So, but eventually we'll be taking it to TDC anyway, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to attend and take notes,
Yeah.
and then we can discuss.
And if you have any questions to ask.
Okay.
Yeah.
One more question, and that's completely off the MMA thing. How many commissions are open right now? How many places do we have to fill, seats?
It's on the website.
Yeah, it's on
So-
the website.
There's the utility commission, and it's all 3 seats. And that's been probably a good 6 months. Nobody's invited one applicant, but since he resigned from the Tarot, I didn't think he'd be an applicant for this one still. We have 1 position for the tax commission. We're getting ready to do interviews next week for the sports commission. We have 3 applicants for that commission. There's 1 seat. Housing authority, one person has applied for housing. We still need applicants for that. I was trying to get more applicants for next week. Tarot commission, nobody's applied for tarot, so I need to get applicants for that.
Is this advertised in the paper?
Yeah, do you advertise in the chief and all
But
that?
we do it once because it's so expensive, so
Yeah.
whenever I first put out my stuff, we do it that way, and then we try to send it out through email, social media, and put it in the Chonics, and it's all over the tribe, because I post flyers and all kind of updates
Okay.
all over the tribe.
Can you also maybe have it put on the Facebook page what's open?
Yes,
Yeah,
she's done it, I think maybe last week, I seen it on there.
I don't recall seeing it, but I.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Okay.
Because we took
So
off.
we're doing everything we can to get that
Yes.
filled.
And I even advocate, we try to go out there and just ask for any Pawnee tribal members, hey, you want to earn some money and be on a commission?
Sure,
So I try to get people on here.
sure.
I go out and threaten.
It's hard to get people to
Right now, it's just hard to get folks to.
I even try to entice them, hey, you get $100 stipend with that, come on. Learn what's going on.
We need to question why. Why is that, why is it you don't want to get on these commissions? There's got to be a reason. I'd be more concerned about that.
All right.
Just real quick, back to the MMA thing, if you could give me that information, whoever has it, just send the email to me, and I'll contact.
It wasn't emailed, she just called me.
Okay, well.
But I can get your number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. On March 30th and 31st is the college. The college is sponsoring the Tribal College Climate Change Conference. And it's here, it's all the tribal colleges, I guess, across the country. And the other thing is, when is our next council meeting? March 30th, Thursday? 23rd? Okay, 5:30? Okay, I'm writing it in stone.
All right.
It's going to take a while.
So we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Motion is made by Adrian, is there a second?
I second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anything for executive session? No. All right, okay. So entertain a motion to adjourn by Adrian. Do we have a second?
A second.
By Donna. Second by Donna. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
And we are